Hello, Creepy Killer here. Today's story is called A Son's Rage. It's a story about a son's disturbing thoughts and wicked desires turned into evil actions. Without further ado, let's get into the story. James. My mother's voice roared through the whole house, bouncing off the walls. What was she mad about this time? Something stupid, I thought. Get your ass down here. Letting a sigh escape from my lips, I trudged downstairs to face what punishment she had waiting for me. Was it going to be hair pulling or a frying pan to the face? I don't know. It always caught me off guard, even though I expected it. My fingers slid against the railing to the stairs, thinking of how smooth it was. I looked everywhere but my mom. Even though I wasn't staring into those soulless eyes of hers, I knew she had anger written on her face. I couldn't remember the last time I seen her smile. Not a fake one she puts on when guests are over, only if they knew of the evil that lived inside that woman. Maybe they'd take me away, and put me in a better home. That'd be nice. Looking down on my bare feet, they seemed so much more interesting than dealing with my mom. I looked up for a second and stared into the eyes of the woman that stood before me, the woman I called Mom. She didn't deserve that title. She wasn't much of a mom. What mom puts their son down every chance they get? Her eyes pierced through me for a split second. Fear struck through me. I quickly pushed away that emotion. No longer would I be afraid of her. Soon, all the worries of this terrible woman would be gone. I'd be put at peace. I got a call from school today. She managed to say through clenched teeth. Her hands curled into fists. I took a step forward to show that she couldn't make me cower in fear anymore. And? I asked. I had no idea what in the world she was talking about. She was pissed, and the expression on her face proved I was right. They said you weren't in class today. She took a step forward without any hesitation in her body. She wasn't going to win this war. I was in school today. I gave her a dumbfounded look. I wasn't lying. I was definitely in all my classes today. I wanted to graduate so I could get away from this hellhole. I don't know how the school would get that wrong. I wasn't tardy to any of my classes today. It had to be a mistake. But all I knew was all the convincing in the world wouldn't make her believe that I was in school today. She always wanted a reason to start a fight. Always wanted a reason to smack me around. Are you saying that they would lie? Why would they lie, James? She cocked her head at me, anger still burning up in her. I don't know. I shrugged my shoulders, proceeding to look back at my feet. Maybe they made a mistake. I don't know why I'm trying to convince her that I didn't skip. She won't believe me. She always called me a rotten child. A child she never wanted. A child she had wished she had given up when she had the chance. Stop lying to me, she yelled. Her fist collided with my left cheek and bone. I fell to the wooden polished floor. My vision blurred in and out for a few seconds. Then a head-pounding headache came in. Using my hands, I propped myself up to my knees, then grabbed a chair nearby to help me up. By the time I got up, I noticed little drops of blood dripping from my mouth to the ground. My anger grew worse, but I held it back. I needed to save this anger for another time. A time where I plan to turn my thoughts into actions. It didn't bother me to look at the smug look on her face. Walking back up to my room, my breath became hard and my fist clenched into my palms. I walked into my room, slamming and locking the door behind me. I didn't care this time if she hit me. After a while, you get used to the pain. It was like my face was numb forever. Like I could no longer feel the burning pain that she brought to my face. I tried to get to sleep for the longest amount of time, looking out the window. It was already starting to get dark. A light post in the back turned on, giving the yard a little bit more light. I couldn't sleep knowing that horrid beast was still breathing. She didn't deserve to live another second on this earth. My hate for her only grew stronger the longer I thought about it. The stars twinkled outside. I wish I was a star. I bet they didn't have to deal with any of this at all. All they had to do was shine brightly in the sky while people stare at them in amusement and awe. People love stars. Love. That was a feeling I haven't felt in a while. In years. Tonight is the night. It's perfect. No one's home except for me and my dear mother that I want dead so bad. I walked over to my closet, carefully opening it, making sure not to make such a noise. I grabbed everything I needed. Duct tape, rope, a knife, a handsaw, and a lighter. I planned this for the past year, and now this plan was finally going to be put into action. I could already feel the weight of all the stress she made me feel gone. Just like my face, I felt numb. Not a second thought or feeling of guilt went through my head as I thought of the plan. It was 8 o'clock exactly when everything was ready, and I descended down the stairs, walking towards my mother's room. My heart fell in sync with my footsteps. I could hear the beat to my heart. It was pumping hard from excitement. Finally, I would be able to see her being vulnerable and not me. I was in charge this time, and she couldn't stop me. She didn't know about her fate that she would finally meet tonight. She will face my wrath. She will greet death's face soon. Maybe Satan wouldn't even want her and torture her down in hell forever. That teacher. I grabbed my baseball bat that she kept by her stand every night. A baseball bat that she thought would keep her safe from any unwanted visitors. With a tight grip on it, I smacked it across her head, making her knock out so I could proceed with my plan. After that hit, I felt a million times better, but that wasn't going to stop me now. It was encouraging me to go through with the plan. Blood dripped down the side of her head where the bat collided with. Red was a nice color on her. I like to see her a bit more like that. My hand wrapped around her knotty hair, dragging her outside to the big tree that sat in the middle of our yard. I didn't have to worry about being caught or seen by any neighbors. The nearest neighbors were far enough to where they wouldn't be able to know what was going on. She was always a sucker for privacy, and it worked in my favor. As I tied her to the tree, I chanted horrible things she said to me in my life. "You're worthless, James. I wish you were never born, James. I hate you, James. I never loved you. I wish I had given you up. You're lucky I don't kick you out and let you live on the streets." This only added fuel to the burning anger inside of me. It gotten worse, imagining her say it with my nagging voice. I tightened the rope around her hands without noticing at first, but I didn't care. I didn't care if she lost circulation in her hands. She would be dead soon anyways. Splashing some water on her, she flicked her eyes open and looked around her surroundings. I could tell she was scared. It was the exact reaction I imagined and hoped for. When her eyes landed on me, she looked like her heart sank. She looked like she didn't believe what she was seeing. Before she even tried to talk, I smacked some duct tape across her mouth. I didn't care for what she had to say anymore. She brought this on herself. Only if she would have changed sooner, then she would have not been in this situation now. I gave her plenty of chances, but now all of her chances are gone. Soon, she would be gone from my life. I wouldn't have to worry anymore. I flicked the lighter and the fire rose up. I was thankful it wasn't windy or raining tonight. My left hand held onto the handsaw, hovering it above the fire the lighter produced. The heat of the fire glided up the knife, making the handle hot. My hand grabbed hers, looking down at her wrist. Before I brought the saw to her wrist. The saw sizzled against her flesh. Blood spurted from the wound as I cut into it. The further I cut into her wrist, I could see the insides. It beckoned me to cut deeper. My eyes closed when I came to the end of her wrist being already chopped off. I wanted to savor her muffled screams into my head. It brought joy, something I hadn't felt in a long time because of her. But for once, she brought the happiness back. I was so lost in thought, I didn't realize I had already cut through her wrist entirely. Then I began to work onto the next. The lighter fired up, the handsaw again. I burned until I thought it was ready for another round. The saw became soaked in her blood and bits of flesh that stuck on. She began to pass out. We couldn't have that. My hand picked up one of her chopped off hands and smacked her across the face with it. No, no time for sleep. You have to be awake for this. My voice was calm and collected, opposite of how she was acting. She was spazzing out and crying. I had to say, she was one ugly crier. I grabbed the saw, burning it more. I brought it to the wounds to stop the bleeding. The sizzle reminded me of the times we would go to the Japanese grill and watch them cook our food in front of us. They both sounded distinctively the same. The saw was brought down on her once again, sawing off her elbow. It cut away at her skin with ease. The bone was always the toughest part, but I worked for it. She deserved this. She needed to be punished. Working on her other arm, my arms grew tired, but pushed through. Who knew what kind of muscles I'd be getting from this? Then came her feet. Feet always disgusted me. Just the thought of touching her dirty feet made me cringe. Knowing she was going through hell made me push on. I sawed away at her feet, thinking of it as sawing wood. Her eyes began to daze off again. This time, I slapped her with my own hand. The moon shined on her, showing the red mark I caused across her face. Now both feet were gone. I tossed them next to the others. Lastly were her legs. The bright flame protruded from the lighter, ready to fire up the handsaw again. But now, the saw was a mix of the black from the burning and a dark red from her blood. I sawed through a ton of flesh and meat to get to her bone. I wonder if butchers find this as much fun as I did. I could feel everything through the saw. The cutting, the digging of the saw as it got further into her. When I was done with her limbs, I frowned. But I wasn't done yet. Something else needed to be done. My eyes scanned over to see what more damage I could do that I already haven't done. I couldn't end her life until I was completely satisfied with what I'd done. Her screams through the duct tape weren't enough for me anymore. It started to bore me. Hearing that same sounds over and over and over again. I wanted the dullness to be gone. I needed the excitement back again. The same old expressions of pain and discomfort on her face then seemed to make me feel as good as I thought it would. Stabbing her repeatedly over and over, the redness hit me, splattering onto me as if I were a canvas. Slicing open her skin, a feeling of happiness hit me again. The motivation grew, and I wanted to do more to her. Cuts covered her body. I grinned at my artwork. I played in her blood that spilled from the cuts I made. My fingers soaked in the liquid, then pressed my fingers against her face. The feeling of the gooey texture was like a high. It made me feel like nothing has ever made me feel. When it dried, then I continued on with my work. I lifted up the knife I haven't used just yet. The blade was clean and ready to slash. The knife was brought to her throat to finish what I have started. The knife sliced through her skin like ice cream on a hot summer day. The crimson liquid gushed from the slice. Then I grabbed the handsaw to finish the job. My hands reached up to her head, pushing it against the trees as hard as I could. I saw it like a madman while staring into her eyes. The life was leaving her. I could see it, but I didn't care. I could feel the weariness hit me as I almost finished. Her decapitated head fell to the floor, and I felt a sense of relief. Her dead eyes staring off in my direction. Still, her soulless eyes haunted me. I left her amputated limbs lying there in the yard. I didn't care to bring any of the pieces. She didn't deserve a proper burial. Remorse? Did I feel it? Not at all. I felt free. Free of that evil demon. You could have changed. I sat next to her limbs and body parts. This could have all been prevented if you would have changed. You're not my burden anymore. You belong to the devil himself if he even wants to keep you. Goodbye, you pathetic waste of space. I finished my speech. My tired body wanted to be clean of her blood, so I headed back into the house. One of the buttons on the phone were blinking, and I walked back inside, signaling there was a voicemail. My finger pressed it, leaving some drops of blood behind. A woman's voice spoke. Hi. You may remember me. We talked earlier, ma'am. It seems I made a mistake. Your son was at school today. Sorry if it was any inconvenience for you. Have a nice night. And with that, the woman's voice was gone. As I walked up the stairs to get cleaned off, I smiled.